frequently it's Kendra, almost 95% of the time, that pushes the button. Dr. Mahoney's name goes in this as the authorized representative. And as you can see, you have to look and make sure because that address populates from the first box. And you use Dr. Mahoney's phone number, her fax number, and the email that's listed on the grants fact sheet, which I think is, well, interesting, it's not listed here. I believe it's president@lincolnu.edu. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. You can look it up.
I've seen it a few times now. This Mahoney.
Well, she also has another box that's called president, and I think she uses that for grant information. Okay. Now, if you have a pre-application, because this form is used for that as well, you would add attachments for that. Or if you had one, they'll want to see it. But we didn't do a pre-application. And if you have questions about what goes in one of these boxes, you can send Kendra Edwards an email. That's the best way to get, because even if she's in a meeting or off campus, she checks her emails, goes to her phone, and she'll send you back that information. Okay. This form is about the project director. They want to know about that individual. They want gender, race, citizenship for the project director and all key personnel. That's people that are paid directly out of the grant that have impact on the outcome. They will help they make decisions. It's not the lab tech or the person that does your data management, unless that's the focus of your grant. It is the essential key personnel. Mostly it's going to be your PhD people. Could be a senior lab technician that they do something that only they can do. But and to get that, you just click on this for the next person, and you do that for however many you have. You might have one, you might have 8. It depends on how big your project is. But it is not for people who are not Lincoln employees. If you're hiring a consultant or you're using subcontractors, it's not for them. It's for people that you list in the budget under key personnel that are directly paid by Lincoln University. Okay? And this is where is the project going to happen.
And is there some collaborator?
If the collaborator is at Lincoln University,
No.
from somewhere else,
Yeah.
they don't collect that information on our collaborators. They're not. They are only interested in the Lincoln personnel right there. You talk about the collaboration and the collaborators in the narrative, but for this form, it is key personnel. And your collaborator is a subcontractor or a consultant. They're not a Lincoln employee.
Do they often require citizenship for the post?
Depends on the agency. It depends on the agency and the topic. USDA frequently does not. Department of Defense frequently does. And NSF used to a lot more than they do now. So it depends on the topic and the agency. And that's generally pretty easy to find in the RFP in the front part. They generally post that pretty prominently because there's no sense in you responding.
Look at the eligibility.
Yeah, the eligibility criteria, it will say that. I'm not seeing it as often as it used to be. I think that there is a list of countries that people who are citizens of those countries are not able to take part in certain projects, and that's listed as well, and it lists the countries. But generally anymore, it's Department of Defense, Homeland Security, something like that. They're gonna be more particular about that.
I'm a citizen in the United States,
Mhm.
but I have collaborators. who
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
In one case, we had to, he was supposed to be the case investigator, but I had to quit my name
Right.
because I was a citizen.
Right, and that happens sometimes. Again, it just depends on the agency and the topic. Not all Department of Defense programs require that. It depends on the area that you're getting into. So, you just have to read the RFP. Okay, this is all about where the performance of the site is. This is gonna be Lincoln University. And our DUNS number and our address is all the same. But if you had a project where part of it was gonna happen here, and part of it was gonna happen in St. Louis at one of the community colleges, you would have to fill this form out. You'd have to include that. And they're gonna wanna know if you have other places that you're carrying this project at, they're gonna wanna know the congressional district for that place as well. Let's say you have a project where part of it's gonna happen in Blue Hill. That's, you have to then give that information, and you'll see that here in a minute. And you can save this form at any time and go back to it. Save it on your desktop, and all the data that you've entered will still be there. Okay. That's the general information. This is where you put the site, where it's actually gonna happen. If you were subcontracting part of this out to another entity, you'll put that information, and they're gonna do it, say, I don't know, University of Louisiana. Then you would put in there, you would fill one out for Lincoln, and then you would click next site, it would bring this up again, and you would fill in their information, their DUNS number, their address, their congressional district. You could have several of those depending on how big your collaboration is, or you could just have the one from, again, that depends on your project. And if you have, they will tell you in the RFP, sometimes they want more information about those additional locations, including a justification why they're needed. You would save that in whatever format it tells you, and that would be attached here. Okay? All right. Do you have human subjects? They want to know yes or no. Generally, USDA, we don't have human subjects. You could, but we generally don't have any here. So if you click no, then you just go right on down to the vertebrate animals. If you have submitted the human subjects, if it's been approved, which usually it's not till after you know you're gonna get funded, but if you have, and it's been ruled to be exempt, you wanna tell them that, and the exemption number. If no, you could say that the IRB review is pending, which is the general way they see them. Occasionally, you'll see an RFP that requires you to have your IRB taken care of before you submit, but that's rare. It's usually, they just wanna know that you recognize you need it, and that it's pending. And it's pending even if you haven't submitted it. But if an award is made to you, you will not be allowed to spend any money until your IRB approval is secured. So it's a good idea to go ahead, once you've submitted your proposal, to get your IRB approval, get things in order, and submit that to the IRB board. They want to know if you're going to have proprietary information. Are you going to have